Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This week we're doing the movie Iron Sky, made in 2012. And we bring you movie news at the end of the program. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens,
Hello.
And an Angry Bird. This week we're doing the movie Iron Sky, made in 2012. And according to IMDb's amazingly short descriptions, it says the Nazis set up a secret base on the dark side of the moon in 1945, where they hide out and plan to return to power in 2018.
2018? I thought it was 2016. 2018? Okay,
yeah,
whatever.
2018.
They don't really go into the date as very well in the movie.
Matter of fact, I'm still not quite sure where the date came from.
I don't either. They didn't say a date in there. I mean, they might have somewhere. I don't remember seeing one.
So since I picked this movie, I guess I'll go first.
Okay.
Unless you want to go and make me defend.
We could probably do that. That would work. I'd like to say, when I say this movie, when I've been talking to people, I also like to say AKA Nazis in Space. Because that's what it really makes me think of. This isn't a movie that you really would want to take seriously at all. I don't know where they came up with this idea.
I'll be honest, it totally seems like they got the idea from Mel Brooks and just went their own direction with it. Because Nazis in Space by Mel Brooks, actually,
it was Nazis on Ice.
I know, but if it was Nazis in Space made by Mel Brooks, I would totally see it.
I would too. But
this isn't it.
It's a crappy movie. It's just a straight out crappy movie. There's no other way to say.
Why don't you just go with your score first?
Well, I'm not going to go there yet. My score is probably going to take you back. The thing about this one is that for as crappy of a movie as it is, it's really got some weird, well-written lines.
Oh, totally.
There are a lot of lines that really make you go, wow, that was actually a really good response to whatever that other character was saying to this person. And the thing that I wasn't a big fan of is they really did not put much thought into any of the logistics in this movie.
What do you mean?
I'm talking like the part where they open up the airlock and she gets half her clothes sucked off by the pressure escaping. This black guy in there is strong enough to fight that, pull her in along with himself into the airlock that would still be sucking them out, and managed to close the door. So, I mean, there's something there that I'm not sure how that would actually work. The other thing is, I mean, after that, somehow they turn him into the Nazi Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that was the part I didn't understand. Towards the end of the movie, he had a syringe that said albino, I think. So I guess somehow they injected him with albinoism?
I don't know. I think it was bleach or something. I don't know. It was kind of strange. But, I mean, that guy, the black guy, can you pull up his name? I think you still have that thing right in front of you. I didn't write it down.
Yeah, his name was Christopher Kirby.
And his name in the movie?
James Washington.
That's right, James Washington. That guy he was actually not a bad actor. There were parts where he was trying to be funny, and it just did not work out for him.
No, but I felt sorry from the amount of makeup he had to have on.
Oh yeah,
I mean he was.
And then his old what was it? Flat top that was all white.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. Anyway, yeah, the one thing I do have to give these people credit for in this movie is they really did do some research on Nazi propaganda.
Oh yeah.
The fact that they brought into their the pure breeding that they were into, the genetic matches, they actually did that in Nazi Germany.
The Department of Genetic Purity, is that
it was something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was really called in the Third Reich, but they really did some research in that, and knowing that they actually were doing that. Hitler was trying to breed a pure Aryan race, and that was one of the things that they were doing it with, is they were trying to do DNA research at the time. The other one that was in there is the Nazi Germany was really into a lot of kind of mixed matches of religion and cultism.
Yeah, they were really heavily into the occult.
And I thought it was kind of interesting that they threw in, the Valhalla thing and some Nordic Nordic mythology in there. I was like, that's kind of interesting that they threw that in there.
It fit. I always thought it was really random, but it's just kind of
It did, because at first you're kind of watching this movie and they're all this like kind of into like technology, and they have all these things that they created on the moon, and you're still kind of like, how did they actually get to the moon in 1940? Was it 45 they said they flew up there?
Yeah.
45 and set up this swastika base, all this lovely stuff.
Because it was a giant swastika. I mean, but
the logistics of how they actually supposedly built that in space, because I mean that would take contractors, that would take some type of architect. There had to be an architect there somewhere. You know, they had to actually have logistics in there, and they didn't cover any of that. They didn't talk about any of that. Then the other thing is how many generations were they on? I mean, because we were discussing, I know we were kind of discussing on the movie, or they're like, are these the first generations, or what's going on here?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of things like that they really didn't get into. Another thing is, how did they get food? Water.
True.
How did they do that?
Food I can see.
Well, for 4 generations.
Well, food I can see because you can, like, because they've grown food in moon soil.
Yeah, but are they just recirculating their urine?
Yeah, the water.
Drink,
the water's the part I'm not quite sure of.
Anyway,
yeah.
So there was some things like that in there, and I'm not saying that I expected this movie to go in all those details. I mean, if you really think about it, neither did Spaceballs. Spaceballs never went into the details of how they got their food and things like that. But
true. Well, I think that's the one thing about this movie, since it's a comedy, it's a lot of, I think if this was more of a serious drama, which, by the way, if this was a drama, this movie would have been even more over the top.
Oh, my gosh.
I think if it was a drama, they would have had to cover that. But since this is barely a comedy at times.
But we also described, I mean, there's a lot of different movies out there that they stole little tidbits from. You just can see that. I mean, the other thing that I threw in there, that was the guy that I was saying, the Nazi Michael Jackson. But there was also a part in there when he started flying the plane, like, I just know how to do this. Is like, what do you say? It was Wing Commander.
Which, by the way, is I'm not quite sure of how many people watching this movie today, unless they're our age, would actually know what that is.
But he hops in there, it's like, it can't be any harder than Wing Commander. And I'm thinking, like,
Wing Commander,
that is one white Will Smith. So, I mean, the way he started playing that was, he was trying to be ID4.
You're so right. I didn't even think about that. That's totally a Will Smith line.
Well, he hopped in there like, I got this. Like for how Will Smith was when he first started flying the plane in '94.
Like, reverse is bad. Got to remember, nope, somebody just got this wrong. Yeah, totally.
So he just kind of hopped in there, and he was a model. How does a model know how to fly a plane? Much less a spaceship.
Magic.
Wing Commander.
Wow.
So anyway, that's all my points right there. I mean, the other point that I had is I can't believe you picked a comedy. How much you hate comedies.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I've read about this movie off and on for a while, and it looked interesting enough. I'll be honest. I thought this was more of a drama. I tried not to read anything about it when I picked it, just to see what would happen. And look what I got. So I'll be honest, I was not expecting this to be a comedy at all. I was expecting it to be funny, but not a comedy. And I was right. Let's see, my first note was the graphics are horrible but great at the same time. The
graphics in the beginning, what was I saying? It looked like a Lego guy in the Lego characters of the spacesuits.
It looked like a Lego moon. Well, it meant they fit the style of the movie. For that kind of the over-the-top thing, like the stormtroopers in space actually looked pretty cool. The Doom Troopers or whatever you call them.
Yeah.
They looked very similar to they would on Earth. I thought that part was kind of cool. And like James said, I loved the lines because there were lines like
I should have written down some of them.
They said like there's a male.
Always trust a Nazi.
Yeah, my one, like I wrote some down. It said the male Negro escaped unarmed but possibly angry.
Yeah.
And the black dude said, "Shit, I'm pretty."
Yeah.
And these are totally non-context. I got to warn you. And they were talking about the swastika, and it said it's a symbol of love. And the black guy's comment was, "I've never heard it called that before." And the other comment was, "And shit, it's alive."
I was looking through the IMDb quotes because there was one in there that I really wanted to get the whole context and jot it all down. And I didn't want to watch the movie again and do it. But IMDb didn't really have that really good of quotes that they wrote down from there. I was a little disappointed in that.
Yeah, no, I'm actually surprised because generally the quotes are pretty good.
Yeah, they usually IMDb gets a lot of user guys who toss in really good quotes from that movie, but this movie probably hasn't been watched that many times.
And the other
to
one,
be honest,
yeah, and the other
one
one
gets
is
circulated.
the other one is they don't have compact computers, but they have anti-gravity and flying saucers.
I know.
So that was the one that really kind of like, I know it's a comedy, but really anti-gravity, but no comedies.
Because part of the reason why they went down to Earth was to get cell phone, because of the fact that it's a more powerful computer than the ones that they had up there.
Yeah, I mean, they were using like these giant room-sized computers.
Yeah, and that was the other thing that bothered me. Wouldn't that have been a Linux system instead of a DOS?
That would have been...
Or not Linux. What was the one before that? Unix.
Possibly.
Yeah, because he looked at the black guy looked at the computer and goes, "Is that DOS?" And the Nazi guy said, "Yeah," and I don't think they had DOS, and even remotely DOS in like 1940 something.
Yo, totally. I did, however, love the space battleship Zeppelins.
Oh yeah.
Then they were towing these giant asteroids. I thought that was great. Those were hilarious.
And the fact that they were throwing the asteroids in the same city that the Nazi commander was in.
As James said, they totaled the two things I noticed. They were riffing on like Independence Day and maybe some stuff from Starship Troopers. I mean, there's more.
Starship Troopers, there was Independence Day. I swear there was a couple spaceships that reminded me of, Battlestar Galactica and Firefly.
Yeah, I could see.
And some of the shapes and designs of them. But, I mean, when you get to something like that, I mean, you don't have a lot of different shape options to go with.
Yeah.
So
without people bagging on you.
Yeah, without stepping on somebody's toes.
But this was a comedy, so I think they could have done some Battlestar Galactica.
At least they didn't do When Mars Attacks.
That would have been awesome.
I mean, some of the times when they were in the cities, it reminded me of like at night times. Whoever picked that cinematography reminded me a bit of kind of the color palette of some of the sci-fi flicks, more like Blade Runner and
yeah, I see what you're saying.
Jeez, I can't think of the other ones.
So what do you think of
kind of a little bit of the not so much the background, but Fifth Element.
So I could see that actually.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the Sarah Palin?
I thought the Sarah Palin was whoever they got to do that role went too far to be funny.
Yeah.
To be honest. I mean, if she had taken it down about 2 notches, it would have been really funny.
Stephanie Paul. Yeah, no, I agree.
But if she had taken it down 2 notches, still been kind of goofy, still kind of been a little bit, let's go get him type of thing, it would have been really funny. But her going, let's go annihilate them, and I got to work out constantly and constantly and constantly and constantly, be hyper the whole time. It was like she just pushed it too far to be funny.
No, I agree.
So I thought the idea of the character was good. I mean, I do like Sarah Palin. You people out there, I don't care what you think. I think she is not as stupid as you guys make her out to be. Anyways, and I'm not going to go any farther than that because
she is a great character, though. I mean, if you're going to pick somebody who's easily mockable, she's a good character.
Palin's a good one to mock at, but the way that person approached that character, she pushed it way too far.
I know.
So
I completely agree.
I can laugh at those people. I think like some of the jokes on who is her running mate?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's Bush's VP.
Oh,
oh God, I can't think of his name. Why am I forgetting everybody's name today?
I haven't had nearly enough caffeine.
Anyway, oh gosh, can't think of his name. But when he went out and was shooting, that was funny. There was some good jokes that came out of that. Anyways, but
so here's my question, and since this may not be one of our most highest viewed shows,
yeah,
Buffalo 66. So my question is,
crappy movie. Why did you guys pick that one? Comment, guys out there, if you've seen the Buffalo 66, tell me why you guys find that one more interesting than what?
At least it's not super.
Yeah, I mean, I would understand more rating on Super anyway.
So here's my question. What was I'm really curious in what you gave this.
3.
3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Straight out 3. I can't go 4. Come on.
No, I'll be honest. I was really struggling with this. I was when after we watched it, generally James and I watch it together, and I was finishing my notes, and I was looking at what we wrote down for a rating system. I was having a hard time with this because
I thought I made the rating system simple enough.
No, I was having a hard time rating this because there were parts that were funny, but a lot of the parts that I expected that were cool were kind of a letdown because the acting was kind of... It was a couple of steps above high school drama. I mean, so... Yeah. Well, I gave this a 3 because I think the lines made it funny. Some of the action scenes made it funny. Overall, I think this movie's a good, solid 3, but... I think if people give it a 4, I think that's overstepping it a lot.
Well, the thing I gotta say here is, if I take this movie and I personally rate it, it would definitely be a 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I made the system and I set it down as I did, because I mean, if we take all those movies that we personally don't like, we would have so many on a 2, but if we take them and we put them on the scale,
true,
and we put it up there and say, did this movie accomplish its goals?
Yeah.
This would be one of those movies that I don't like. I'm not going to watch this movie again.
See, that's where you and I differ. I like this movie. I would totally see it with certain people because I'd love to see what people think about it. If it's on at Saturday morning at 2 in the morning, I'd watch it. Either that or the Ginsu Knives commercial. So I actually like it. I think it's funny. There are parts that are definitely amusing.
I could say that this movie is funny, but I wouldn't actually sit down and say, I wouldn't even go that far. I mean, there are funny parts.
Totally.
There are funny parts of this movie. Like I said, there are some line responses where somebody will say something and you just get this line that gets delivered back. And I mean, even the delivery of the lines on some of those times weren't that great.
And
but the actual writing of the line, you're just like, did that person just really say that?
And the only lines in the entire movie that are funny come from the
black guy and the woman.
Yeah, see, I think the black guy's comments, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I don't remember his name.
I don't either.
And it's Christopher Kirby, James Washington. Only his comebacks generally were funny. The woman who played her,
the blonde.
Yeah, the Julia, Dietze. I'm not going to be able to pronounce it. Some of her lines were good, but James Washington guy had the best.
He did
comebacks.
He had some really good lines. I mean, I thought it was pretty funny when he goes up to the guys playing basketball and he's like, hey, what's up, brothers? And then he's just like trying to hide his
Nazi patch.
Yeah, he's trying to hide his Nazi patch, walk up all gangster, and they just all like,
they start.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
It's like, I gotta go this way.
Totally.
So yeah, there was some pretty funny lines in there. So I don't know. I think it deserves a 3 because what it set out to do, it did. That's really what it comes down to.
I agree completely. So this is the movie news section of the show, and this has been out. This next news has been out since at least a couple of days. Since Thursday, it's the first time I heard it. Is J.J. Abrams, the director of the new Star Trek movies, is supposed to direct Star Wars Episode 7.
Really?
And here's the interesting part. Is you have Star Wars and Star Trek fans, sometimes they're in the middle, but they both seem to, this one's better because of this one's better because of that. So the interesting thing that's going to happen is J.J. Abrams, I guess, if the next one comes out, he's going to be the producer, not the director. So what do you think? I mean, what do you think about J.J. Abrams doing Star Wars?
I actually want to see that.
So my question really is, what would have to be in the next Star Wars to make you want to see it? I mean, because we've been Star Wars fans since we were kids.
I want to see Luke's daughter. I want to see her. What I would like to see is I would like to see Luke kind of this halfway Yoda, halfway Sith character, because that's where he was. I mean, he had dark Force powers mixed with mostly good powers. So he's kind of a Yoda character, but still has some of the dark Force powers.
So the question,
and him as the Yoda guy and his daughter becoming a Jedi Knight. That's what I want to see.
So the question is then, Mark Hamill, would you like to see the original cast come back or not? Because I'll be honest, I want to see.
I would want to see Mark Hamill in it.
I kind of want to see. I want to see
because he's old enough to be where he's,
Yeah.
he's kind of grown up a little bit. And I mean, I wouldn't even mind seeing Carrie Fisher in there.
Yeah,
too.
see, I want to see Carrie Fisher, and I also want to see Harrison Ford. Depending on how they do the role, because he's an older guy, I don't think they could have him do the run and jump stuff, because the last Indiana Jones movie was a joke.
Yeah.
So, but I want to see the cast. The guy who played Lando Calrissian, I guess, wants to make an appearance. So my question is, are they going to do canon to the book? Because according to the books,
I would like it.
According to the books, Chewbacca's dead.
I know. That's why I didn't say anything about Chewbacca. I wouldn't mind seeing Chewbacca, but if they brought Chewbacca in, I mean, you're gonna have the hardcore Star Wars fans upset.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have the slightly Star Wars fans, kind of like me, which I'd say I'm slightly a Star Wars fan. When I was younger, I was really into it, but I read some of the comic books. I didn't continue with the stories, the actual books, but. So I would like to see
the original, the whole thing.
I would like to see some of the original cast make appearances in there. I think that Lucas throwing in what was he, Backstreet or NSYNC or whatever boy in there as Anakin.
Oh, yeah.
And then going back,
Hayden Christensen.
Whoever, I don't care. And then going back,
wow,
I don't care. I didn't like him. He was whiny and annoying.
Episode 1 through 3 sucked.
But I think anyway, I'm not going to go in there. We'll get there at some point with the Star Wars. Anyway, I don't like the fact that he went back and wiped out whoever the guy was who played the Anakin
originally, and replaced
in the
him,
Ghost section, replaced him with that guy. I was really annoyed by that.
The question, I guess, is: would you like it to stay canon with the book, or with the book series, the bunch of there's been, or would you like them to make kind of a branch off and go their own direction? That's the question.
I would like them to continue with the stories that are in the books, because of the fact, I mean, this is one of those things that
it plays fan service, because there's so much story now that's been written.
There's so much story written out there that they don't need to write a whole nother story, because it's probably not going to equal up to the stuff that's already been written, because these guys have put so much effort into it.
True.
They've continued with this whole storyline. I mean, they have the holocron guy, who could even give them like an idea of where to go with it and where they're not going to step on fan toes.
True.
I mean, I don't know. What's the guy's name who does the holocron?
I don't know.
Anyway, but they have that guy out there who stays on top of that stuff.
So the next one is one that I'm kind of excited about. It's possibly going to suck. Robotech?
Yes.
So Matthew is in talks to do a live-action Robotech. According to what I've read, I guess it's been in development hell for quite a while. But this is like the live-action Akira that was supposed to take place a couple of years ago. Is something I'd like to see.
Well, I liked Blood, the live action they did. I liked the Rurouni Kenshin live action they did. I liked the Gantz, the one that they did. So that's a good point.
Here's my concern.
Wait, hold on.
An American director concerns me.
That's what I was just about to ask. Is it a Japanese or American? Because the Japanese guys do it right.
I didn't actually look this guy up. I probably should have. I didn't have time. If it's an American movie and it's by Warner Brothers, which scares me. But in all, Robotech, if you don't know, Robotech itself is an American thing. It was originally Macross Saga. If you look at Macross,
you're bashing Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers has actually put out some decent stuff over the past couple of years. Since early 2000, they've been starting to turn their reputation around.
Well, no, the only reason I say Warner Brothers...
With the Harry Potters, with the Batmans.
The only reason I say Warner Brothers is because it's still an American company. And that concerns me, because it's going to be for American audiences, and I'm worried about them... not doing justice to what's there.
I understand.
You're right. You're right. Warner Brothers has put out some good.
They put out some good things recently, but the thing is that it's just a production company. It's not a director and it's not a writer.
True. You're right.
And those are the two things that usually, when they go from anime to American movie, is where a lot of things just fall apart, as the directors and the writers screw it all up.
So let's hope whoever gets in charge of writing it and directing it is not only is a fan of the original content, but like I was saying, Robotech by itself is they took the Macross Saga and made it for American audiences back in the 80s. So if you actually want to see the original unedited, because Robotech's been edited, modified and dubbed is check out the Macross Saga, the actual Macross series.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, if they do it right, it's going to be awesome. If they do it poorly, it's going to suck out loud.
Yeah. Okay.
The next one is one I'm actually excited for. It's Anna Paquin and Ellen Page and Shawn Ashmore to return for X-Men: Days of the Future. So the chick who played Rogue is coming back.
Did they fix the gap between her teeth?
I don't know.
No, they haven't. I've seen True Blood. I
haven't watched True Blood. So Anna Paquin is in Ellen Page, and the guy who plays Iceman, Rogue, and I'm assuming Kitty comes back. So that's
Kitty Pryde's one of my favorites. I gotta be honest. I'm not a Paquin fan of her. I'm not a fan of Paquin's Rogue. Yeah,
well, I don't disagree. I'm a bigger fan of the older Rogue.
Yeah, I don't know.
The reason why I'm excited is because it's continuation with at least the first and second X-Men, because I hated the third.
I don't know. I like the one that they just did. Is this still the director that did First Class?
Yes.
Okay, so there's hope.
So this is what I wrote down from when I found it. It says Paquin and Ashmore.
Is Jackman in here?
I don't know. Let's see. So it's Paquin and Ashmore, who played Rogue and Iceman. All three of the original film will be fitting into their plot in slightly more mysterious ways. X-Men: Days of the Future Past is currently set on July 18th, 2014. And I guess it'll be including Michael Fassbender, James McAvoy, Jennifer Lawrence, and there'll be...
I like Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, sweet. I didn't read this. Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart are going to be in this in a confusing way.
I already know what's going on there.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it because I liked First Class.
I did. I really liked First Class, and that's why I'm happy that Lawrence is back there, because she played a really good Mystique.
Yeah.
Now, I've already looked at that. I didn't know that they had updated the cast on... Is this IMDb? Yeah. The last time I looked, they didn't tell me that Paquin and all those guys were going to be in there. So that's good.
This was from...
When was this updated?
This was yesterday on one of my favorite websites called Cinema Blend.
Oh, okay.
And it's so far it's all over all the other websites. I don't know if it's 100% true, but I'm hoping it is. And Days of X-Men, was it Days of Future Past? I guess is an actual novel or okay. I've heard of it before, so this is supposed to be really well done.
Okay, that's cool.
And it's supposed to be, I guess it's supposed to be canon in the actual X-Men series, depending on which part you want to go to. So, do you have any news before we close out?
No, I think I'm gonna hold off until next week. Now, the movie for next week is one of my favorites. By one of my all-time favorite directors. I've been putting this one off.
Oh no!
And it's Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, phew!
So I've talked about Guillermo del Toro quite a bit through the show.
Constantly.
I like this guy a lot, and this is actually one of the reasons why is this movie right here. So get a chance out there, go and look it up, find it, watch it, and we'll discuss it next week.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, and the Angry Bird,
goodbye.
We'll see you next week.
They will support you. They will do referrals between clients. You can't ask for a more complete marketing package.
We love the windfall!
And you can too. Think advertising with the Windfall couldn't get any better? Well, it just did. For only $125 for a 30-second commercial filmed by Old Guy Tech TV, you can be seen and heard.